So again, I just want to thank everyone for joining How to Improve Your Practice's Online Visibility presented by ProSites. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's what we're going to be covering today. First, we'll be going over what search engine optimization is, why you need it, and then I'm going to be going over how it works. This is going to be a very high-level overview. SEO can easily take an entire day to explain, so this is going to be very high level for any beginners that are just getting their feet wet with SEO and understanding how it works, or you may have a little bit more experience, but this will cover enough for everyone in there. Also, I want to talk about the latest update that's affecting your SEO. This is an update that actually happened to search engine results pages back in February of this year. And then I want to give you some quick tips or 3 things that you can do to improve your rankings today. So first, let's talk about what search engine optimization, or SEO, is. Now, to clarify, SEO in its more general definition is going to be the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website by ensuring that that site appears high on a list of results returned by a search engine. So what we call an acronym a SERP, which is S-E-R-P. You want your website to appear high on that page, right? So the thing about dental practices and SEO is that really what we're applying is going to be called local SEO. And I'm going to get into a lot more detail about that, but local SEO does have different factors and influences that traditional SEO may not. Okay, so first let's talk about why it's important. Well, over 500 websites are created each minute out on the internet, and over 75% of clicks are usually on organic listings. Now, there are 2 types of listings that will appear on a search engine results page. The first being a paid listing, and you may recognize it under the name of AdWords or Bing Ads if you've ever done PPC. But underneath those, you're going to have organic listings, and those are listings or results that you cannot pay for. You have to earn those. And most of the clicks are going to happen on those organic listings. Furthermore, 85% of searchers will not go past the first page of results. Instead, what they're more likely to do is they will refine their results and the question that they're asking in order to get the results that they want. That doesn't necessarily mean that they won't go on to the second page. It's just the majority will likely stay on the first. Okay, and in terms of dentists, well, there are over 200,000 searches for dentists each month. That's just almost 3 million times a year. There's over 160,000 monthly searches for teeth whitening and just a little over 90,000 monthly searches for dental implants. So really, by not doing SEO, you're really not taking advantage of those that are looking for the searches, and there is volume there. Also, users tend to trust search engines. So this really goes back to how organic listings are displayed and why they're displayed. They are earned. So a searcher is more likely to trust that because they understand that you've done whatever you can in order to earn your position in those listings. So, really the general idea is that if a website ranks well, it's really telling the searcher that that website has the information the searcher is looking for. Also, your competition is already doing it. Even in really small towns, they're doing some level of SEO. SEO in itself is not new. Really, this happened as soon as search engines happened back in the early 2000s. So the tactics are new, but the fact that people are looking online isn't. Also, it delivers patients at a great ROI. Really, once you've earned that position, if you continue to maintain your website in ways that are, SEO friendly, then it's a lot harder to knock you off, and you don't have to invest as much time or money than you would, say, on traditional advertising methods. So, you wouldn't have to invest $100,000 for a TV spot for a year with SEO. And then also, it really helps patients find you when they're looking for your services. So the thing about SEO is that people are actively looking for you, so they don't feel like they're being interrupted. And then finally, everyone is searching for your business online. This is just something that, everyone does, not just for dentists, but really anything that they're looking for. For example, I'm looking into a car. I'm going to be doing a lot of research online on cars, reviews, affordability, safety ratings, anything like that. And really, the same time investment that I would normally take for a car, I'm probably going to do for a dentist. So what makes SEO so effective, and I kind of alluded to this already, is really the idea of inbound marketing. So SEO is a part of a larger marketing strategy that focuses on allowing people to buy from you rather than you selling to them. In other words, they, by looking for you, have given you permission to appear and let them market to let you market to them. So really that's why it's effective, because they're paying attention. They're looking for you. Okay, so how does SEO work? Well, really, before we talk about it, let's break down what search engines do. And really what search engines do is they have three major functions. The first being that they find and categorize all websites out on the internet and pages of those websites. And then what they do is they save them under specific keywords and return them instantly. And then finally what they do is they recommend the best sites according to what's more relevant and authoritative and list it on page 1 from best to worst, or in other words, they rank them from best to worst. And that's really where rankings came from in SEO. And marketers realized that this was very powerful because it was a vouch of confidence and people were actually looking for these pages that are showing up. So ultimately, SEO can broadly be broken down into two components. There are factors that you can that affect that are directly on your website, which is what we refer to as on-site optimization. And then there are things that affect your website's rankings that are off of your website. So that you have to have some optimization outside of your website as well. So really with on-site optimization, it can be broken down even further into two parts. And those two parts would be the content or the copy on your web pages and your actual website. So, what your website is actually saying. And then it also can be factored in by metadata, which is, it's English, but it's actually coded into the structure of your site and is not evident by looking at a page. So it's actual copy. It's just not in the user interface or what the user looks at. So, but that is important because it is what search engines use to understand your page. So let's go over content a little bit. So what content is, like I said, it's actual written copy on your website. And the optimization of that content means that the copy on your website is valued by searchers in search engines because it answers their questions. So say you're looking at this procedures page, for example, and someone that probably ended up on this page was wondering what services this particular dentist provides, or they were probably searching for a procedure on this page, say for example a dental exam, which is probably the most common, and they happen to find this on this page and they see that it's relevant and there's some information on other procedures that are available. So they were more like, that's meaningful to them because they were probably looking for these services, and this page answers their question on whether that's available. Okay, so metadata, like I said, it's copy, and as you can see here, it's actual English. There are really two I would say arguably the most important types of metadata, and those are called the page title and the meta description. Now, the page title and the meta description will show on a search engine results page, and that's why it's important, because ultimately what it's doing, here we see the meta description, is it's incentivizing people to click through to your website from a search engine results page. So that same page title will usually appear here in blue or purple if you've already visited the site, and the meta description will show underneath. Now, although the meta description in itself does not impact your rankings, it does tell people, give people a preview on what that page is about, therefore helping them decide to click through to the page. Click-through rate is how often someone clicks through to that page, and that is known to be a ranking factor. So the more people click through to your page from a search engine results page, the more likely it is to appear higher on a search engine results. Okay, so when you're choosing content for SEO, and this is something that can be applied to both the copy on your site and the metadata that you choose to implement, you must first think about how it aligns with your marketing objectives. I'll give you an example. If someone, say it has a lot of patients, but there's a lot of high patient turnover, right? And they want to maintain some of those patients at their practice. So the goal is to retain patients. Maybe one way to do that is to let patients know that they offer other services, such as dental implants if they need them, or braces, right? So what you would do is you would then think about the searcher. What would that searcher then look at? They would, if they're looking for orthodontics, they're going to look for braces, they're going to look for Invisalign, they're going to look for clear braces, and then if they're looking into, if they need some sort of work on their teeth, that would then lead to a dental implant, whether it's cosmetic or necessary, then, letting them know what a dental implant is, what their options are, or maybe they need dentures and, an implant is an option for them as well. Those types of keywords, once you start thinking, you'll start thinking about the search phrases or the keywords that someone would use in order to find you. Then once you have the list of keywords, you're going to want to do a little bit of research to see that there's volume behind that, and you can do that easily with Google's keyword planner. So just make sure that the keywords that you're choosing are aligning with your marketing goals. In this example, the keywords for dental implants and braces, that could contribute to patient retention. But most of all, really when you're choosing copy, you have to make sure that you sound natural. I would highly recommend that as you're reading through your copy and you're inserting these keywords throughout the copy, that you would read it out loud. Read it out loud to see if it sounds weird. More often than not, you're going to find things that just don't quite sound right. So, and then you can wordsmith a little bit to make sure that it sounds a little bit better while still retaining those keywords. And really, that's, with search engines, they're very smart. They understand context and they understand synonyms, so you don't have to use the same exact keyword over and over again. You can use a little bit of variation, and search engines will still understand what you're talking about. Okay, moving on to OffSite optimization. So with OffSite optimization, really in terms of what directly impacts local SEO, there's going to be two different things. One are backlinks, and then the other is going to be local business listings. So with backlinks, just to clarify, they are hyperlinks from other websites that are not necessarily social media pages that link back to your own. So I'll give you an example. Say you have a link in your local Chamber of Commerce and you're in their directory. A lot of Chamber of Commerce directories will have a link to your own website in your directory listing, and that in it would be your backlink. When you're looking for backlinks, the most important thing is to look for quality over quantity. Backlinks is generally where most people get in trouble with black hat SEO. I'm sure you've heard that before, and really it's black hat refers to when you're not following best practices, and the easiest place to not follow best practices is backlinks. So once upon a time, people figured out, I remember this back in 2012, that the more links you have to your site, the higher you would rank. It didn't matter where those links were coming from. They could be from, a car website. It could be from a sketchy website from Russia. It really didn't matter. As long as it was pointing back to your site and you had a lot of those, then you would rank higher. Google got smarter with their Penguin algorithm, and it's been evolving over the years. And now what really matters is that the websites that are linking back to you are relevant to you somehow, either by being relevant to your industry or being relevant to the location where you serve. Relevant to your industry would be something that if you had a link from your local state association, that would be very relevant. Also, if you had a link from your local elementary school, if, you know, for whatever reason, they put you on the calendar and they linked back to your site to let people know that you were showing in students' classrooms one day, that's relevant to your geography. So that's relevant as well, even though the site itself is, you know, an elementary school site. And then in terms of local business listings, so this is really where we differentiate between local SEO and traditional SEO. In traditional SEO, this isn't really something that is a priority or a huge factor. But in local SEO, which is the type of strategy that dentists would pursue, it consists about 30% of ranking factors. And the reason why it's so important is because search engines will look at these local business directories and find the information and triangulate it with the name, address, and phone number that's on the website, on Google Maps, and on other major directories such as Yelp, Yellow Pages, you know, Merchant Circle, those other directories. And really what they're looking for is that there is consistent information across all three of those. And they're going to be looking at the name, the address, the phone number, and the website URL. If there is any discrepancy in the information, search engines are going to get confused and not rank you as high. And this is particularly important for what we call the snack pack. It's that list of map listings in the middle of a search engine results page. It has like a snippet of Google Maps, and then it tells you where everything is. Gives you like 3 results. Really, this part affects that maps listing result the most. Another thing that would affect it is if you have duplicated listings on one platform, and this is very common for dentists. So I've seen a lot of examples or situations where a dentist will have a Google Maps listing for their practice, and then they'll have a Google Maps listing for each of the individual doctors, and that's not necessarily quote-unquote wrong per se, but it does confuse search engines because a lot of that information is duplicated, and then Google looks at all of those listings for the same location, the same business address, and tries to figure out which one to serve. If it doesn't know which one to serve, it's just going to move on and choose someone else that it's very clear on. So really what you want to do is claim your profiles and remove any duplicated listings, especially on Google Maps. That one's very important. Okay, so you know, if we're talking about SEO, you have to know that it's working because it's a lot of work to implement all of these different things. A couple of things to consider before you decide whether it's working or not is your website, your current website presence before you start any SEO program. So, you know, really ask yourself, what's the condition of your website and its presence online? And then you're going to want to ask which metrics are important for you. And if you're hiring an SEO company, they can help you walk through that. A lot of the metrics that are very common are called organic traffic. So organic traffic refers to traffic that comes from search engines, including Google, Bing, Yahoo. And then another metric could possibly be, you know, ranking position. It could also be click-through rate on that ranking position. And this is all information that would be given to you, that could be given to you on free platforms such as Search Console and Google Analytics. And then for those of you that are already ProSites members, you already have that on your website when you bought your website, so just ask your member services representative to get you that information. And then another thing to consider with SEO when you're starting is your market. So someone who is, let's say in, you know, Lincoln, Nebraska, is probably not going to have as much competition as, say, a dentist who is in Los Angeles, California. The populations are, you know, it's very different, not as much saturation in Lincoln, Nebraska, so you're not going to have as many people to compete with. And generally, the more saturated the market, the more difficult it is to increase your rankings. And then also, you're going to want to think about establishing some benchmarks so that you know what the progress that you have made on your website. And in this case, you know, reporting is going to be essential. You can pull these types of reports, like I said, from Google Analytics or Search Console, which some of you may know as webmaster tools. And really just monitoring what it is, or where you start at, you'll be able to determine whether your efforts are working or whether they are not. In general, yeah, like I said, you're going to want to increase your organic ranking and your average position. Some other key metrics to consider are bounce rate, sessions or page views, or even click-through rate on keywords. And then one thing too that's very important to remember, SEO does take time. SEO is not something you can implement and do a lot of work up front and then expect it to change, within even a month or 2 months or 3. It takes time. It's slow, and that's really because search engine crawlers are re-crawling and re-indexing and all the time, so they may not necessarily get to you for a while, and then when they do, it's going to take some time for them to index your website and understand what is happening. There are different types of channels that you could do if you're looking for quicker results. For example, PPC. Those are paid positions on a search engine results page. So if you need something a little quicker, then PPC can definitely complement SEO as you're working toward earning those organic listings. Okay, and I just wanted to give you guys an example of what a report could look like. This is a report that we actually give all of our clients. Well, this would be the first page where we break down all of those metrics, and then depending on the package, your SEO rep will go through this report with you and tell you what's happening. Okay, so I'm going to have a quick recap because I know that was a lot of information. So first, let's talk about OnSite Optimization. That's really referring to the copy and metadata of your website, along with some other things. So really what you want to do is make sure that your content is valuable to searchers, and you create that value by answering the questions that they are asking. And then metadata, you'll want to make sure that keywords are shown on a search engine results page by including those in your meta description and your page title. OffSite optimization really consists of backlinks, earning backlinks back to your website, and then also optimizing your business listings, which means that you're getting a hold of all of them, making sure that your name, address, and phone number is consistent across all directories. And then in order to know whether it's working, you'll need to establish some goals, on what you want to do, and really you can start establishing those by first understanding where you're starting. Understand whether you're on the first page, second page, where do you want to go from there. Ultimately, for most people, what that means is they want to increase their rankings and their organic traffic. Okay, so I did want to give you guys a brief example of a client that we had. This client in particular wanted to increase the visibility of his website, meaning that he wasn't ranking very well, and that's what he was targeting. He wanted to rank better. So, after some work, after getting a hold of all of his business listings, prioritizing Google, and then, earning some consistency along directories and optimizing pages with unique content, we were able to get him to first position. These numbers that you see here are positions, not pages. So any number between 1 and 10 is going to be the first page. And as you can see here, we were able to rank him in the first position for all of these keywords. Okay, so let's move on to the latest update that's affecting your SEO. Now, this is an update that actually happened back in February of 2016, and it created a lot of buzz. And oddly enough, it wasn't an algorithm update for SEO. It was actually a removal of right-side ads for Google AdWords. So on a desktop, what Google used to do is it used to show their ads here. Okay, and this does impact SEO. So you'd have one up here, and then you would have your organic search results down here, and then you'd have, 3 more ads off to the side on the right. Now what they do is they have all 4 of those on top or right over organic search results. So what that ended up doing is it actually pushed everything down further down the page. What that means for you is that there is now a greater need for strong SEO. top page ads are pushing organic results further down the page, and so a stronger SEO strategy is going to be necessary so that you are closer to the, top first, I would say, 5 results of an organic page. And if the snack pack is displayed, then organic results are pushed even further down the page, meaning that you're really going to want to target now those first 3 at least. So I'll show you what that looks like. Here we have the first 2 ads again. You scroll down the page, we have ad number 3, ad number 4. Scroll a little bit further down, we have snack pack with their own results, and then we have your first organic listing. So that's really far down the page, and if SEO has taught us anything is that people will not necessarily go down all the way to the bottom, won't always go down to the bottom of search engine results. So if they already have 4 ads that are showing, and on top of that 3 listings in the snack pack, they may just go that far down on a page and ignore organic results that are in positions anything higher than 5. So really the key takeaway here is to make sure that you're ranking in the snack pack and organic listings, and then you may want to reconsider your marketing strategy so that it could probably include pay-per-click advertising, among other benefits. What you could potentially be doing is dominating pay-per-click for your practice and organic results, because those are completely unrelated and can happen. And you would be taking real estate away from your competition so that they can't show up as easily. All right, so what are 3 things that you can do to improve your rankings right now? And I would strongly urge you to look at your websites to make sure that you have at least these 3 things covered. The first thing would be to have a mobile-friendly site. Actually, back in 2015, Google made it a ranking factor, or mobile friendliness a ranking factor. So if your website is not mobile friendly, then you're most likely foregoing some, competitive edge. One way to look at or to check whether your website is mobile friendly is by pulling up Chrome. And let's say let's pull up this right here. If you pull up Chrome, here we have our desktop, right? And if you're doing this on a computer, you can this is how you would check it. By hitting F12, it will automatically go to a mobile version of it. So you can actually choose what it looks like on each of the devices and check to see what your website looks like on your devices. And you could toggle back to a desktop. So really, this is a really good way to check whether your website looks good on a mobile device. And you'll be able to tell if it doesn't. If the text doesn't adjust to the screen size or the images aren't quite adjusting either, then you know that you don't have a mobile-friendly website. And if you don't, I would highly recommend that you go back to your website editor and just update to one of our new responsive sites it's absolutely free to do. So, just go back, change the template design a little bit, and update to a responsive site, and you'll be mobile friendly. If you have a semi-custom or custom, then I would reach out to your member services rep just to make sure that that's something that you could do. Another thing that you could do to improve your rankings is to claim and update your Google Maps. So I'm not going to go over this in too much detail, but I would recommend that you hop on over to this slide once you get it in your inbox. Go to this website, gybo.com. And really that's Google's platform to help you claim their Google Maps listing. And then I would definitely recommend that you read up on why duplicate listings are bad for your dental SEO. This is a blog post that I wrote about 2 months ago. It goes into more detail on why duplicated listings are bad, and it tells you how to fix them. And there's a lot of common scenarios there that I know I've seen a lot with dentists, so just go over those scenarios and it'll tell you how to fix each of those. And then another thing that you could do, and I would highly recommend, is to start writing. So update and create new content. Update some of your existing web pages to include a few more keywords, or maybe mention your city within the text. And then you can also add a blog or integrate a blog so that you can start blogging. And really a blog is a good way to update fresh content without having to change the core of your website very often. And search engines love new content. They will continuously come back if they see that there's a lot of meaningful updates to your website. Okay, if you guys are curious about SEO, a little bit more on SEO, or want to read up on it a little bit more, I did provide a couple of recommended pieces of content. We have a series on SEO on our blog on how to improve your rankings, and really it's just breaking down SEO and with a little bit more detail. And then if you would like to learn a little bit more about backlinks, I would recommend this right here on how you can earn backlinks. And then if you're at the beginning and don't quite understand all of the jargon around SEO, I would highly recommend this SEO dictionary. And then, of course, this white paper you can always download as well. And it's just, you know, it gives a very in-depth overview on SEO. If you are considering PPC, say you have an SEO program or you tried SEO and you just don't want to try it again, but you do want to show up in search engine results, then I would highly recommend that you look up these resources on PPC, learn how it works, what the update is, and you know exactly why it impacts SEO. You can always learn how it works with our free on-demand webinars, and then we also have a white paper that goes into a little bit more detail on AdWords. Okay, so that concludes the presentation. At this point, I'm going to be heading over to any questions that you guys might have, and please ask away. I know you guys must have a lot of questions on what this is, and remember to go over to the questions panel on your GoToWebinar panel and just start typing in. One thing I do want to mention for those of you that probably came to us a little late is that this webinar is being recorded and it will be sent to you tomorrow. Okay, so we have one question. It says, how long does it take to claim your listing on Google Maps? And actually, it's really fast. The easiest way to do that is to follow the steps on gybo.com while you're at your practice. It only takes a max of, I would say, 15 minutes. Let's see, we have one more question. Okay, so it says, how do you gain more backlinks? I didn't quite understand how that works. Okay, so let's, I'm happy to go over that again. What we call link building, getting more backlinks is called link building. Really, ultimately, what you're doing is using your network, your actual professional network and outreach in order to get other websites to link back to you. One way that is, you know, you can possibly do that is, say you're very active in your community and you tend to visit elementary schools quite often. So in visiting your elementary school, you could reach out to the teacher or the principal or whoever runs their website and say, hey, can you announce that I'm going to be in so-and-so's classroom and, you know, teaching kids on dental hygiene? And can you let them know about me by pointing back to my own website? By reaching out to people in that moment and letting them know, hey, can you link from your website to mine? That's link building. And that's a very valuable link because it shows Google that you are relevant to your community and where you are located. Another example I could give you, again, is the state associations. Some state associations will have a directory for all of the doctors they are members of. You can go to that directory, tell them, hey, you know, please update this directory. Some will be a little, you know, how you do that will change from association to association. But basically say, you know, Dr. So-and-so works here. Here's my address. And please link back to my site from your website in the directory. That is yet another website or another backlink that you've earned. I would highly recommend that you download our white paper on backlinks. It gives you a lot more ideas on how to do it. So Yeah, it's basically just linking back to your website. Let's see. Okay, so then the follow-up question to that is, do they just literally give our link on their page? Yep, that's all it is. And there's nothing official that needs to happen for search engines in order to recognize that backlink. Nope. As long as someone puts in that link on their own website to your own, search engines will find it and they'll know that it's a backlink. Let's see. Oh, interesting. It says I have 4 reviews on my Google Maps, but when I go to GYBO, it shows 0. You know what's probably happening? I would probably check for duplicates because the listing that is pulling on GYBO is probably a duplicate and not the listing where you have your 4 reviews. It shows 5 stars, but 0. Oh, interesting. Okay, so here, let me show you this. You can actually reach out to Google. So here's how you can do that. .com/business. Okay. So actually, you know what? It's support.google.com. Okay. So if you go to support.google.com, you sign in. Okay. And then you scroll, let's see, we're going to find Google My Business. Ah, there it is. Okay, Google My Business. And then see where it says need more help. Here you can find all of the help that you want. See photos, reviews, let's say other problem. This will be your support forum on how to find what it is that you're looking for. Let's see. Okay. But yeah, I would actually just look to see if you have duplicates first to see if that's what the issue is. Let's see. All right, at this point I'm going to be concluding the live Q&A. It looks like there are still a couple questions rolling in, so I'm going to be hanging in here, but at this point I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your day again, and if you have any more questions, please feel free to submit. I'll be hanging on for a couple more minutes.